Hello, we are back, and today we are going to go over just some light insurance news. There is a pretty funny story that I want to bring to your attention that I found today as I was roaming through the news. And usually I have different style clothing on, and I decided that I was already wearing this shirt. It's a Shine Supply shirt, and decided not to change. They're actually one of my clients, and one of the reasons why I love to do what I do is because I get to meet really cool people who start really cool businesses. This is not sponsored. This is honestly just a spur of the moment thing where I was wearing the shirt and I thought, hey, it's a client, and so I get to say a little something about them. It's run by Jeremy. Jeremy is actually a really cool story. He started out just as a mobile detailer out of his car and running around doing mobile detailing all by himself. Eventually grew the business over time, created his own products, and they do top-notch detailing. I mean, their detailing is next level. Their detailing system is next level, and it has been so much fun to be a friend along the way and watch him go from 0 to a million. So congratulations to Jeremy. Again, one of the reasons why I do what I do is because I do get to meet cool entrepreneurs that are doing cool shit out there in the real world, making businesses, making value in the world, and employing people locally. So really cool to watch. Now on to a light story here. The news is pretty heavy. President Trump was recently elected, and I've got some interesting headlines about that I can go over, but want to start out here with this headline, which is 4 arrested in insurance scheme allegedly used bear costume in staged attack. So just absolutely mind-boggling to think what people do to get money. And I think many of us, we're fairly honest people. We do our best to be honest in this world and make an honest living. And then you look up from your desk and you see that there's all these people running around doing this crazy stuff. So the article starts by saying the officials in California announced this week that 4 individuals were arrested in an insurance scheme that allegedly included one person wearing a bear costume in a staged attack. California is no stranger to bears breaking into vehicles, but when footage surfaced of bears slipping into luxury cars, it alerted insurers that something was amiss. So fun fact about California, the California flag has a grizzly bear on it. California actually used to have grizzly bears, and at one point they were eradicated. I don't remember the exact year, but they were eradicated because they were killing people. So it is a real thing that I think people don't remember about bears. In an operation called Bear Claw, the California Department of Insurance announced Wednesday that 4 Los Angeles residents were arrested on charges of defrauding 3 insurance companies of nearly $142,000 by falsely claiming that bears had damaged their vehicles. According to the California Department of Insurance, the group submitted video footage allegedly showing a bear inside a Rolls-Royce and 2 Mercedes in San Bernardino Mountains last January as part of their damage claims to their insurers. Photos released by the department revealed apparent scratch marks on the vehicle seats and doors. However, California Department of Insurance said in a press release that upon further scrutiny of the video, the investigation determined that a bear was actually a person in a bear costume. So to everyone out there, remember that insurance companies do have their own fraud detectives. They do have their own teams of people that are in place to catch any fraudulent activity out there. Insurance fraud happens, and insurance companies are more than aware of it. And I did go through a couple videos in the past on insurance fraud, specific to the government feeling the need to get involved with insurance fraud. And one of my points was that I don't know that it's 100% necessary, because no one is more incentivized to catch insurance fraud than insurers. Now, the other side of it is perhaps the people, the taxpayers need some representation in regards to insurance fraud. There may be a case for that, but just wanted to bring to light that insurance companies do have these teams of people that investigate fraud all the time, and they're very good at it. Detectives found 2 additional insurance claims with 2 different insurance companies for the suspect with the same date of loss and the same location. Each of those claims involved 2 different vehicles, a 2015 Mercedes G63 AMG, a 2022 Mercedes E35 E350 class, and the suspect again appeared to use a bear costume to make it appear that the bear also entered and damaged those vehicles, the California Department of Insurance said. They provided the video footage to their other insurance companies as well as to substantiate their claims. The 4 individuals arrested in the scheme were later identified as 26-year-old Ruben Tamzarian of Glendale, 39-year-old Ararat Kirkanan of Glendale, 32, Vehi Murahanya of Glendale, 39-year-old Alfia Zuckerman of Valley Village. Each of the 4 individuals were charged with conspiracy and insurance fraud, the Department of California Insurance said. According to the California Department of Insurance, officials had a biologist from California Department Fish and Game, or Fish and Wildlife it's called now, to review the videos to further ensure it was not actually a bear in the video. Following the review, the biologist opined it was clearly a human in a bear suit. Detectives discovered the bear costume at the suspect's residence after executing a search warrant, the Department of Insurance reported. Bear attacks. Let's learn about bear attacks from this wonderful article. Bears rummaging through trash cans or breaking into homes in search of food is becoming a growing issue in California, from Sierra Lake Tahoe region to the foothill suburbs of Los Angeles, where bears have been spotted raiding refrigerators and cooling off in backyard pools and tubs. Yes, it is a thing. So the article wants to know that bear attacks are real, they do happen, but this one was not real. Here is a picture of the bear costume. Not a huge amount of money went into facilitating the impersonation of this bear, but they did get rewarded for some time, $142,000 that they did end up collecting. So I would imagine that these criminals went out and attempted this. They had this brainiac idea to dress up like a bear and file a claim, and then they got money and they said, well, let's do that again and see how many times this works. So just absolutely hilarious. Like I said, there's other news here that go on to go through some kind of fear mongering. Right now everyone is at each other's throats. Trump is president-elect, and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and some other people have been elected. There's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the news right now. President Trump is the president-elect currently, and the most recent news is that he elected RFK to HHS, I believe. And so there's a lot of people very, very upset about that. And the more heavy side of this is one of these articles from, I thought this was from Newsweek, but I guess it's not. It looks like it's from, Newsweek on MSN. And the title of this is Millions at Risk of Losing Health Insurance at the End of 2025. So I'm bringing this up because I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to get extended. I don't think that President Trump is just going to completely eliminate all funding from healthcare going forward, but I could be totally wrong. And so this article goes on that says millions are at risk of losing their health insurance if Congress chooses not to renew subsidies from the Affordable Care Act. I think that people are giving too much power, and I think they actually have given too much power to the office of the presidency, and this is the problem with our current system, that over the years the presidency has been given way too much power, and now individuals are afraid that President Trump is going to come in and undo all of this stuff. Really, I think that many of us, including myself, should go back and look at the way that our country was set up and why the office of the presidency was originally designed to have very little impact on our lives. The areas that are supposed to have the most impact on our lives are our local governments and our state governments. That's the way it's supposed to be. United States of America, just combined unions, and we have turned it into a collective dictatorship over time, or more so, where instead of, yes, it's not the traditional dictatorship where just one person is dictating down to the rest of us like China, but it is a collection of people. And of course the founders did set up different branches of government, but those branches of government aren't really representing us anymore. Many people feel that way, at least, and the representation is too small. The number of people that originally were set up for the House of Representatives, it's grown over time. The ratio is off, compared to how it used to be. And so there's all these things that I think Americans really need to sit and contemplate, because if we're afraid that if some of us are afraid that Trump is going to come in and be this dictator and dictate to everyone that off with this and out with that, then maybe the ability to do all of these things shouldn't have been given to the president, and to begin with. There's a reason why that the Constitution and the government was set up a certain way back when, and now I just think that the president has too much power, and the government has too much power over the people. So in this article, it goes on to say millions are at risk of losing their health care if Congress chooses not to renew the subsidies. I think I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not a political analyst, but I just, I don't foresee them just shutting off all subsidies. That's the latest estimate from Congressional Budget Office, which found that 3.4 million Americans will lose their health care if the subsidies are not renewed. The Affordable Care Act is in a precarious situation or position, with President-elect Trump set to take the White House in January, as Republicans have been critical of the health insurance law. Next year, Congress would need to vote on ACA and whether to extend its run, as subsidies are scheduled to expire at the end of 2025. The subsidies significantly reduce the monthly cost for people's purchasing plans through ACA marketplaces. Michael Ryan, a financial expert and founder of MichaelRyanMoney.com, told Newsweek. The enhanced subsidies, introduced in 2021, expanded eligibility and saved enrollees over $700 per year on average. The law, enacted by President Barack Obama, allowed millions of uninsured Americans to maintain insurance, expand Medicaid's eligibility, and also prevent insurance companies from denying coverage for those with pre-existing conditions. It also created tax subsidies which were designed to lower premiums for Americans who need health insurance but can't afford to pay the full premiums. So many people have ACA plans right now. I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say the majority of people do take on some sort of subsidy or have a Obamacare ACA compliant plan. I would say probably 90% of people have some sort of ACA compliant plan, and this article will, I think, clarify how many people are taking a federal subsidy. It also created subsidies which were designed to lower premiums for Americans who need health insurance but can't afford to pay the full premiums. While some are critical of the ACA for how it made the government more involved in healthcare decisions of everyday Americans, 66% of those who received the federal subsidies considered ACA a success, according to new eHealth report, and 81% said the subsidies were affordable. So just in my experience, when the ACA came out, I tell this story all the time to my clients. I did have one in particular that had a 186% increase. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it was so crazy. It was such a crazy time. The year that ACA came out, I would do meetings and people would be crying. I had people drinking. People were taking shots in conference rooms. It was a huge increase for many people, mostly for people that were over the age of 40 who had families. Those individuals saw 88% increases, 100% increases. Like I said, this one gentleman had 186% increase. It was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy time. And that's because our old plans got replaced by these new plans that did cover more. They had unlimited benefits, where our plans before maybe had $1 million or $6 million in lifetime insurance for medical care. And the new plans have unlimited medical expenses for the health insurance company. And also there were requirements as to what had to be covered in a health plan to be ACA compliant. There were also, the law was so large, but it did increase costs. And many employers joked, it's called the Affordable Care Act. How can this be called the Affordable Care Act when it's becoming less affordable for me, the employer? So I believe that some employees didn't really see much of an increase during this time. A lot of employers absorbed the increase, or absorbed the majority of the increase, and ate it for their employees. So some employees were really sheltered during this time, and have been sheltered from these staggering increases we see year over year, and this year is no exception. We are seeing double-digit increases again for 2025 and beyond. Inflation has hit, and now it is crept over to medical inflation. We did have lower increases during the pandemic years. It was 3 to 5% for most plans, most years once the pandemic started, and now we're really seeing those numbers catch up. We're even seeing life insurance rates go up, disability rates go up. Just across the board, employers are getting hit from all sides. There is still pushback to the ACA in America, though roughly 29% in the eHealth survey said they feel that those at higher risk should pay more for coverage, with 73% to 76% saying smokers and heavy drinkers should pay more. And one of the things about ACA is the only two criteria that they're allowed to take in, the underwriters and the actuaries are allowed to look at, is demographic information, which just includes the employee's age and the place they live, their zip code. There are no health factors at all that impact the rates, period. The ACA is so ingrained that if there's any path to reformation, it would need to be slow and deliberate. The current system does not have gaps that leave people who don't qualify for tax subsidies because they are referred to Medicaid, but they can't qualify for Medicaid under the state's conditions for eligibility. This leaves a lot of people without insurance. Robert Shapiro, a political science professor at Columbia University, said Trump and Republicans may target the ACA and its subsidies moving forward. Yeah, I agree. I think that they are going to really take another look at the healthcare system and see what can be done. I think this is an interest of Elon Musk. I know he does have some social Democrat tendencies, some socialist kind of tendencies and ideas, and I think that healthcare is one of them. So we will see what impact that has. I also know that RFK is elected and he's going to be out in charge of HHS and reviewing the FDA and some other things. Hopefully that helps with some costs surrounding the pharmaceutical companies and holding them accountable for the costs that have been driving up healthcare over the years. It's really, really unsustainable. I mean, I live this every day. I've lived it for over 20 years, and year after year, coming to my clients and talking about these increases is exhausting. And at some point, we have to look at the health of the nation. And I've been talking about this even before RFK came onto the scene. America is extremely unhealthy. I mean, you can go back and look at all of my videos. I've been talking about health forever. And if we have an unhealthy nation, we're going to have out of control healthcare costs. So looking at the reasons why we are so unhealthy would be a great start. And I don't disagree with RFK on this. I think that it's something that we need to look at. I don't promise to know the answers. I don't know that RFK has all the answers. I don't think anyone does. But I think it's very important to have these discussions in a public forum and talk about them because they affect all of us. And I mean, I had a quote go out the other day where I was trying to help someone, a friend, find healthcare, and his healthcare cost for his family is going to be over $3,000 a month. It's just insane. Who can afford that? So it is a problem, and it needs to be addressed. There will be a fight over this, and the Republicans should be cautious. I agree. I think that we have an established system. We want to make sure that as little people fall through the cracks as possible. Healthcare is an extremely personal and sensitive topic, and it needs to be handled with kid gloves, definitely. But Kevin Thompson, a finance expert and founder, CEO of 9i Capital Group, said lawmakers are still likely to reapprove the subsidies given the challenges they face trying to dismantle the ACA during Trump's first term. And I completely agree. Trump has expressed interest in replacing the ACA with a plan of his own design. However, he hasn't presented a clear or actionable plan. Healthcare is complex. Trump understands the risk to his legacy if he were to get it wrong. I agree, and this is something that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. I wanted to bring this up. I don't want to stricken anyone with fear. I think that this article, and I think many news articles, do try to fearmonger and scare people, and that's certainly not something that I like to promote. But it did bring through several points of items that we will be keeping an eye on over the next couple of years, and I will continue to bring updates as I see them. So thank you for hanging out until the end. Please, if you need to have your plan reviewed, if you're an HR manager, CEO, CFO, and you want to look at your employee benefits, please make a meeting with me. It is completely 100% free. There's a link down below. Thank you for hanging out until the end, and we will see you next time.